Oh shit, that's the wrong button. Hello, and welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, Joe Scott. I'm joined by Tony Tones and RT. How are you, Tony?
I'm doing pretty good. The birds have come to join the podcast again. They're tweeting.
It's that
away.
time of year. It starts to get warm again, and then all the birds come home.
They're so loud. Also, it's not even remotely removed from RTX voice. It's just directly.
They need They need to get like a bunch of birds just tweeting, and then just run them through the fucking algorithm like a billion times.
Yeah.
It's the only way.
Because, I mean that the software's still in beta, right? I just felt more. Not even sliders, just profiles. I want to drown out screaming because I'm recording in I don't know, like a festival or something. So I don't know. I just feel like more customization.
I would like RTX
would be
voice to remove the Tony voice from my audio. That would be great.
Yeah, if you could, then that'd be okay. That'd be like the golden
I always thought it'd be really cool.
Train it yourself.
Yeah, if you could train audio to recognize a person's voice and then remove that person's voice. Because the thing is, Alexa you can get Alexa to learn people's voices.
Yeah, it's I think it's very tricky. Machine learning is the way to go with it. But yeah, there are different ways.
I mean, not say the Alexa's not the fucking dumb and works like it. I swear
it doesn't always work. But the basic idea is there to do it.
I tell it to play the Beach Boys, and it starts playing Beach Boy Noogie or whatever it's called, or something like that. What did I tell it to play the other day? And it played the Magic Mike soundtrack.
What?
I don't remember. I told it to play Levels by Avicii, and then it started playing the Magic Mike soundtrack.
Yeah.
I was just like, it played one song from it, and I was like, you know what, Alexa? Play the entire Magic Mike soundtrack. Why is that going on in the background?
It's kind of crazy though, because the way I think of it is I get humans, right? We're kind of we've evolved over millions of years to get to this point, if not longer, depending on how you want to look at what has evolved and what.
It's been
just crazy, how
10,
good we
20
are
years on Earth, the human race.
Well, the training's 20.
Right. Yeah.
So but I'm saying that the hardware has been developed for thousands, millions of years.
Right.
I just think it's crazy how good we are, because you can listen to multiple voices and then pick out multiple voices on top of each other, whereas a computer's oh, this is really difficult.
Oh, Tony, you want to talk about Lego news, or are you going to wait until you get the parts?
I'm going to wait until parts. I was hoping...
Guys!
Okay, I'll do a mini update.
Do a tease.
A tease. I ordered a lot of... okay.
Let's
in the business, we're going to call it I don't know what... There's a lot... A lot of fucking Lego in the biz.
Yeah.
However, I've not received all of... I've only received one
Mr.
item
Lego's
so
delayed
far.
you.
Yeah, so on the 1st of May, so that's the new refreshes are coming out 1st of May to 4th of May, obviously the 4th of May, May the 4th.
May the 4th be with you.
Yeah. Star Wars Day.
Star Trek reference.
So they brought out new Star Wars stuff, so I bought a ton of Lego, and I bought there's a custom thing instructions I bought, and I bought Lego for that as well.
Tony, it's the 8th of May, and we haven't watched the finale to Picard.
We haven't done that either, no. But unfortunately, Joe, there's who would have guessed it? The Lego were inundated with orders, so they had to delay the order and shipping it out. Who would have guessed? People like Star Wars and new Lego.
And we were complaining there was no Star Trek Lego.
Yeah, I really wanted to build the Enterprise. One piece of Lego I wanted to get, Joe, one that I was actually hyped for on the 1st of May, was the Horizon Forbidden West.
Sold out, was it?
immediately sold out.
Ah, fucking hell.
It was apparently too popular.
You know, people are just big fans of alloys. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I didn't expect it to be that popular.
I
Like,
spent
not even the Lego Star Wars sold out that quickly.
I spent ages looking on Lego ideas for you to see if someone had made the Enterprise from Star Trek
Hmm.
on there, and I
Yeah,
couldn't find it. The only thing I found was a Star Trek on Playmobil that cost like 500 quid, and I was like,
it wasn't
Jesus
worth it.
Christ.
Like, if that was Lego, it would have been maybe worth it, but
But I,
relatively, like Lego is like the expense. Like, if you compare, like, so like, you have like you buy like a toy car, right? One in
yeah.
Lego and one in just like a plastic. The Lego's always gonna be more expensive.
The thing is, if you
The
say
fact,
Enterprise, you could be describing like 6 different ships.
yeah. Well, you could technically be doing more, but six
Yeah.
well-known ones, yeah.
Anyway,
That's
you want to see
that's
a
the bullshit
Cursed Doom
news.
mod, Tony?
Sorry.
We're going to trailers. You want to see a Cursed Doom mod?
Yeah, I do want to see a custom mod.
This is a mod that has replaced all sprites in Doom with voxels, and it will look like they're sprites until you get up close, and it starts like you'll start to see why they're like 3D voxels. It's when you see the bodies on the floor, that's when you'll be like, oh, okay, I understand. I just think it looks really fucking weird because like
It does, yeah.
you don't have like 3D turning in Doom, but when like the fucking pinkies come up close, it looks like their faces are like warping.
Yeah. It's a part of the style, right? Like, that's what you've come to expect is the sprite stuff. Wait, is the gun different?
No, I think the gun is a sprite by the looks of it. Right, it's just like
This
a.
looks different to me.
That's what the shotgun always looks like.
Alright, okay.
You can see the
Interesting.
jaggies on the side.
Yeah,
Uh,
just something off about it.
I just
I
thought
don't
it
know.
looked really fucking weird. I've been getting to Doom modding a little bit recently. I was playing like I don't think we've done Tangerino yet, but I was playing through Doom 1 recently with ray tracing mod, and then I was also playing through like a platformer version of Doom as well recently, and I've just been looking into like the crazy amount of Doom mods there are, and I've just been going down a rabbit hole because there are so many. There's so many Doom mods, and there's
Yeah.
some really good ones out there.
I mean, the
Oh,
fact that it's still relevant kind of shows how
it's
many mods
insane.
there
It
will
is
be.
insane.
Yeah.
Next up we have Tony. There's a brand new game called Dome Keeper. It looks a lot like that Dome Romantic game.
Oh, it doesn't.
I don't know if you've seen that one. But they said they were going to change the name and they were going to change the art style, and we've got a brand new trailer showing off the art style and the name change. So it's called Dome Keeper now, which I guess is more relevant. I think I commented on the trailer. I said I really liked that they updated the graphics of like the mining and the dome and stuff, but the creatures still have that like
They
really
the
low
the pure
resolution. Like
dark shadow.
they have like that really big mystery to them, and you're not really sure what
Yeah.
they look like, which creates like this Lovecraftian like eldritch sort of feel to them, which I really
Yeah.
like.
Not be able to
Sometimes,
see like features
yeah,
and details is it adds a lot more, especially for,
sometimes
like a shadowy
sometimes
creatures.
with monsters, less is more. I feel like.
Yeah. Well, but I think especially for shadow stuff, like you want to have like it's weirder if it's like a mess of shadows, opposed to like being a structured
Uh,
dark humanoid or
But if this looks
flying
interesting
thing.
to you and you don't know about this game, look up my Tangerine video. Or I think no, it's a spotlight. Look up the spotlight of Dome Romantic because it used to have a different name.
Um,
If you want to watch more
uh,
about this,
okay,
this
interesting.
game is
So
really sick, really
I'm
cool.
just looking at the comments on the trailer, and you're
Mm.
like naturally at the top.
Oh, am I? Maybe
Yeah,
it's because
you've
we're
got 13
friends.
likes.
Oh, you love to see it,
Have another like.
guys. I'm popping off on the YouTube. Dude, I'm telling you, the strat. You always like your own comment. You always
Yeah.
like it. It sets you one like ahead of
Why are
everybody
you even
else.
able to do that? I don't understand.
When I post a video on YouTube, I like it. Why did I post it? Because I like the content in the video. That's why I send a like out on it when I post it. I don't know,
Oh god.
posting on things early and then getting like a snowball of likes. Because I'm top comment on some fucking Hearthstone videos. And the reason I'm the top comment is because they announce shit at E3, I immediately put a comment shitting on Blizzard, and then I get all the likes. And that's how you do it, boys. That's how you do it. You watch the live streams, and you get the first
Yeah.
comment saying, fuck Blizzard, this Hearthstone game shit. I don't play this trash anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, looks really cool. Really excited for that to come out. And then also, call back to another one of my favorite demo festival games. Haiku the Robot is out now.
Okay.
It wasn't an announcement date trailer, but I think it came out like a week ago or so. So a lot of people are saying it's very much like Hollow Knight, which is probably why I like it, because I played this and I was like, this is really fucking cool, but I've never played anything like this. I've also never played Hollow Knight, so maybe it is like Hollow Knight, and that's why I like it, because it's a game I would enjoy. Because I have been wanting to try Hollow Knight. But I heard with Hollow Knight, it's one of those games where it's true a lot of like Metroidvania games. One of those games where you want to just sit down and play it in like very close sessions. Because I found with, I think it was Fez.
Oh, he's gonna forget them out.
With Fez, that's sort of like a puzzle Metroidvania sort of, right?
Yeah.
And I found with Fez, I did a lot of it, and then got stuck, and I was like, and then I went back to it, and I was like, I have no fucking idea where anything is. Like with those Metroidvania games, I feel like you need to sit down and just play them out in like one consolidated thing.
Yeah, I just like just like keeping your short-term memory.
Oh, this wasn't on my docket actually, but I'm just looking at my YouTube recommendations. NoClip put out an unedited version of all of the Ravenholm footage for the cancelled Half-Life 2 Ravenholm game from Arcane Studios. I've watched through it. It looks phenomenal. Again, can I just say, one of the biggest tragedies in the world is Arcane Studios, one of my favourite game studios of all time, was making a creepy Half-Life game with really interesting like electric mechanics and monkeys that dynamically react to lights and stuff like that, and it's such a tragedy it was cancelled. It's like, do you know why it was cancelled, Tony? I don't know if you've seen the Arcane Studios documentary.
No.
They had two external studios working on games for Valve. So one of them was based in Europe, which was Arcane, Arcane Lyon. The French studio was working on Ravenholm. And then the other one they had was Turtle Rock Studios working on Left 4 Dead. And Valve, and at that time I think it was around the credit crunch, and they weren't sure about converting the dollar to the euro.
Oh no!
Because of that time, so they said, "Well, we've got two studios, both working on zombie games. We need to cut off one." So they decided to go for Left 4 Dead instead of Ravenholm.
They're a bit different, surely. Oh, that sucks.
And also, we got gameplay from the Half-Life VR mod, and it looks really, really cool. Watch the Sadly It's Bradley video on it, where he live streamed some exclusive gameplay. So if you're interested in that, you can watch that as well.
Is it being reconstructed?
It's running in Source.
Okay, fully, like it's full. Okay.
Hand tracking. You've got like the Alex style gun control.
Oh, nice.
It's still running in the Half-Life 2 like Source container. It's not running in Source 2, I don't think.
Right. Okay.
But I mean, I've played Half-Life 1 in Gold Source, so I mean there is trickery and magic you can do to get this stuff running. So next up we have Tony, on Namashu Rider. There is DLC for Fury with an alternative main character that will launch on May 17th on PC. There's DLC for Fury 6 years later.
Very confused.
I think the most recent one I remember is Cuphead was getting DLC like 5 years after it releases. It's just like, it's not something you see very often. Like video games these days are very much they make the game and then they've already developed some of the DLC before they release it. You don't actually see a lot of the time these days people go, oh, I've developed this, they release it, they wait for feedback, and then they go, oh, let's take some of that feedback and incorporate that into DLC. That's what you used to do with like expansions and stuff like that.
Yeah. I get, to be fair to like the stuff coming up, not like super immediately, but I can understand like during like the final few months of polish, like the designers are like, oh, we got like some other stuff like on our drawing board, like can we start doing this DLC maybe? So
apparently it's coming out on on every single console but Xbox. It's coming out PC, PS4, PS5 and Switch.
Oh yeah.
And apparently they've said they've heard the frustration about there not being an Xbox port, but we're a small indie team. We couldn't find the time and budget to make that port. Isn't okay? I can
Um,
understand. I can understand PS4 and Xbox One X, but the Series X and the PS5 are essentially the same hardware. So if you're making a
also,
PS5 port, shouldn't it be
I
relatively
also
easy to do a Series X port?
I thought they were Xbox were making it
Because
easy to like port things from PC to
Digital
Xbox.
Foundry's been complaining recently that there's no point comparing PS5 and Xbox Series X games against each other because they're like the same silicon, so it
There's
doesn't
like
make a fucking difference.
yeah, it's like a subtle difference if any like between certain games.
The big difference between Series X and PS5 was VRR support, but PS5
Yeah,
just got VRR support, which we'll talk about
yeah,
later. Um, yeah. Anyway, Danny, you're a big fan of Disney, aren't you?
yeah. Love them.
I'm
The
not
old
particularly a
the
big
old
fan of Disney,
Mickey
but
Mouse.
I'm a big fan of kart racing games. You know that Disney
Right, right.
Speedstorm is coming to PC. We saw it in the Nintendo Switch trailer, and I was like, oh, they like to make kart racer games like console Switch exclusives for some reason. I guess everyone's chasing the Mario Kart high right now.
Yeah, they know that's people but are playing it right. They've got the market data.
Hmm. I feel like everyone's making kart races recently, and then we've also got Disney Dreamlight Valley, which I thought was interesting because it makes I know lots of my friends who play Animal Crossing are huge Disney fans, and I'm like,
Hmm.
that's such a huge like crossover in the market between people who like
Yeah,
Disney and people who play Animal
100%.
Crossing that this just made so much sense to me in terms of market. Whether the game's going to be any good,
But what's
probably
Wally
not. I have no
doing?
fucking idea.
Well, you can
But
make Wally, guys, so it's definitely gonna be good.
they're both developed by Gameloft. The Animal Crossing style game and the kart racing game are both developed by the same company. And what I know about Gameloft is they've been known to make heavy microtransaction mobile games. So
Yeah.
the bag's out on the quality of these games, really. Whether they're just going to
Yeah.
be like pay to win or, you know,
You're half in the bag, you could say.
but yeah, half in the bag on these, as Girardi and Star Trek Picard would say.
Yeah.
Speaking of mobile games, Blizzard is making a mobile game out of the
What?
Warcraft franchise. Also, don't you guys have PCs? Diablo Immortal's also coming to PC. Yeah. Anyway, let's move on to Joe's weird VR game of the week.
Is that we're talking about Blizzard stuff?
I don't You think I fucking care about a Blizzard mobile game? I don't
Okay,
give a
well,
shit.
yeah, Blizzard's kind of dead.
Tony, you were like, I want to
Mhm.
mod Skyrim again, and then I
Yeah.
said, why do you keep wanting to mod Skyrim? Why don't you play a better game like Morrowind? And you were like, but there's not enough mods. And I said, there's tons of mods for Morrowind. That you have like a whole new engine that people have made, like an open source engine for Morrowind, and one of them is the ability to play Morrowind in VR. With actual
Yeah,
physics-based
so
swinging on swords.
yeah, that's
There's
because that was like the
hand-based
biggest
tracking.
problem. Yeah.
So the way it works is it's TES3MP VR. So TES-MP lets you play in multiplayer. And then there's a VR version that lets you play in VR, and you can also play Morrowind in VR multiplayer, Tony. That's the level we're at right now. Like,
Yeah,
it's
that's.
crazy. Like, I thought Half-Life 1 running VR was insane, but like Morrowind multiplayer
Well, I
fucking VR.
guess this is kind of like a modified engine running VR, right? Because
When
like,
it when it comes to like VR mods, I'm the ones I'm all for are like hand tracked VR. So like
yeah,
this, like Half-Life 1, that sort of stuff. The ones I don't like are like the GTA, Red Dead Redemption, um, ones where it's literally just you're watching it on the VR headset. It'll be like head tracked, and then you're controlling it with a
yeah,
controller still instead of actually using your hands.
yeah.
Those are the ones I don't like, where there's just like no
No, they don't work.
interaction from the VR controllers.
Apparently, Open Morrowind been in development for 10 years.
Yeah, yeah,
That's insane.
people have been developing like an open source Morrowind, and just because like I think it was is it the Game Bro engine or whatever it's called, like the one that they use on like Oblivion and Skyrim and Fallout New
Yeah,
Vegas.
it
It's just
was
fucking
like it's like a
awful.
precursor to the creation engine. I
Mm.
can't remember what that's called now.
But I may be wrong, but I believe that's what it was running on. But they were like, I don't. If you've ever tried to mod Fallout New Vegas, you'll know how fucking awful that engine is.
Yeah.
Um,
To be clear, you could mod Morrowind with like textures and things, but it was like very hard to change like combat, for example, or like certain magic. Like certain things you need like scripting for. I believe it was like really difficult to like change those sort of things in the game. I mean, it looks like because I was just reading through Open World and stuff. Like they specifically added like Lua scripting support for mods. So like it sounds like it's very very moddable.
Sony, you keep saying you want to mod Skyrim. My challenge to you: mod Morrowind.
Yeah, that's true. That's
My
true.
challenge to you.
It's a challenge. I don't know. I need to really play Morrowind at some point. I think, but I
No.
don't know. How do you think about that?
I've never played Morrowind. Maybe I will one day.
I think the story is very good.
I literally just played through Thief from 1998, so I'm not beyond
Yeah.
booting up a really old game that you have to mod to get to run.
Well, be fair, when I tried to run Morrowind on Steam, it just worked for me. I don't know if other people have like more problems than that.
Mm.
It's just that
Well,
it's then like
I think
dated
with
textures
Open
and
MW,
models.
it fixes a lot of bugs and helps with
Yeah,
like modern hardware and stuff like that.
there are definitely a lot of bugs that you probably. There's probably I think there's some crashes late game. I think if I remember correctly from Morrowind, the base Morrowind that
I
people
put
have on
3
modern
things on
hardware.
my weird VR game. I also put Kayak VR because I was like, what the fuck, kayaking
Kayak
in VR?
VR.
Yeah, it's a game about kayaking in VR. It actually looks kind of fun.
Okay.
I don't know. I never thought about kayaking in VR, but now I have.
It kind of reminds me of you doing a show for O'Brien on the holodeck, right?
Where he always dislocates his fucking
Yeah.
shoulder every time he goes onto the holodeck because he turns the safeties
Well,
off because it wouldn't be realistic otherwise.
yeah, up the rapids.
And then Julian's like, Miles, you've got to stop going kayaking. You
Do
keep with the safeties off. As your physician, I can't recommend this.
you remember that there's like I can't remember what it was. Like Chief O'Brien to get out of something, he pretended to break his to break his arm.
Classic. Was that the
So
one? Was that the one where Keiko gets like taken hostage by an alien?
no, it's a
And she
more
just
it's
looks
like
at.
a deep
I love
one.
that episode because it's like Keiko just looks at Miles and she just jumps off a fucking bridge. I was like,
Yeah,
holy shit, the acting's good on that one. That like, I'm not a big fan of Keiko in DS9, but that was some good acting from the
yeah.
Keiko actor. And then we also have Blacktop Hoops, which looks really cool because a lot of VR basketball games from like 2016 was just shooting hoops, but this one actually has like dribbling and like deflecting
Oh,
mechanics.
nice.
It looks
Yeah,
like it
this is
actually be
good.
really, really fun. So I'm gonna keep my eye on this one. It actually looks. It
Oh,
could.
yeah, that dribbling. Wait, what's with the fire? Is that just like really on point?
Just the dunk was really good on that one.
Yeah, that is really cool. This is great.
But it's like one-on-one sort of thing, so I could see like
Yeah, it's
I'm
dribble practice, I suppose.
fairly sure it's multiplayer. So I'll just double check. But I'm fairly sure it should be multiplayer. Team
No,
is
that's great.
learning about this game. It says single player, so maybe it's just against AI. Let me check. Oh,
I
okay.
mean, it
So
looks good either way.
first phase is single player, and then there's going to be another phase where they add multiplayer with open lobbies. Okay. Right, so
Okay.
they are adding multiplayer to this. Cool. Let's move on to quick news, Tony.
Okay,
Deep Rock Galactic 2 Season 2 is out, and with this, the big news is Deep Rock Galactic is getting both FSR and DLSS, so no matter which
Nice.
card you're on, you can benefit from these technologies. DLSS is fucking magic. Anytime it's on in a game, put it on, you get free FPS. I don't know if I told this story
Basically.
yet on the podcast. I was playing, what was the game I was playing? The zombie one made by Turtle Rock.
Back for Blood.
I was playing Back for Blood, and it was running flawlessly. And I was like, this is running flawlessly. I haven't tinkered with this. What's going on? It was running in DLSS quality by default. And I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Why it's just...
You didn't even know.
I didn't even know it was on.
Yeah.
It just looked like it was on like high
It-
quality resolution. All the graphics turned up. It was just like, okay, free FPS. You love to see it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the AI stuff is really,
I tell you,
really,
this
really
is a
cool.
hilarious piece of news. Eve
Okay.
Online has partnered up with Microsoft Excel. Um,
That's
I don't know
perfect.
if you know this, but for the longest time, I'm
Yeah.
always joking about this. It's a huge running joke in the
It's an
MMO
in-joke in
community.
Eve as well.
The running joke is that EVE Online is a spreadsheet simulator and not a game.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
now EVE Online is officially teamed up with Microsoft Excel, so you can directly export data from EVE Online straight into Microsoft spreadsheets.
Oh my god. Are they like
Which,
a fifth, like 15 years old or something? There's like I saw like an advert for it saying like they're like an anniversary or something.
hmm,
It's crazy.
I don't know. Some people, I think EVE got bought. The parent company got bought out by a different company. I think it's technically free to play, but if you actually want to play the game, you still have to pay a
Yeah,
subscription
you.
fee.
It's based for if it's anything like it was before, like you could
I think it's
play it.
similar to like maybe Black Desert Online, where that game's technically
Yeah,
kind of free, but not really, unless
it's yeah, you really want to like be if you actually like care about it's more just see it. It's more like a trial to be honest, like what you can and can't do. Like
yeah.
everything's almost accessible to you, but like you just like certain things is like oh, okay,
Because
you
I
do need
heard
to like
like
buy it.
they recently raised the price of the sub fee from $15 to $20, making it one of the like most expensive MMO subscriptions
Yeah.
out there. And people
Okay.
were like, "Oh, what are they gonna do to increase like the value of the sub?" Microsoft Excel, guys. Here you go.
Yeah.
Um, Hopefully that's worth it for you guys. Sega's been naughty recently. Sega has not only have they been making confusing pricing for releasing Sonic Origins, they've also been delisting almost every digital version of Sonic 1, 2, 3, and Knuckles
But
and
Joe, they're
CD
re-releasing the games. Why would they
on
make
May
the old
20th ahead of
ones?
Sonic Origins release. This new version, Tony, is going to have de novo
Yeah.
anti-DRM in it.
Yeah. I think you should. There's no point removing the old stuff unless you're doing something to like. I don't know. I think it's just a stupid decision either way. Like I feel like it's not even gonna. It's not even gonna have any benefit for the player. I really don't understand it. Oh,
Yeah, as
it
someone
sucks.
I personally already own these, but I never like to see them being removed for people who,
No,
yeah,
yeah,
can't get their hands on them. It seems
yeah,
kind of
that
dumb.
sucks.
Yeah,
Yeah, you should always keep the original for sale. There's no reason not to, especially
yeah.
if it actually works with modern
What
things.
if Origins releases and it just runs awfully, and now you can't play these original
Yeah.
versions anymore?
Wait, like GTA remastered?
No, they would never do a GTA remastered.
Oh no. Okay.
Okay. Gears 5 map builder is also being removed, but
Oh
they're
god.
unlocking its achievements for all players as the team focus on future projects. So,
Is it
um,
running on servers or something? I don't understand why it needs to be removed in the first place.
I don't know. I think the idea was they could take. They said there it's allowing the team to focus on future projects. So I guess there was an active development team on the
Uh,
map builder.
maybe it's like not complete when it was like in the game. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
Okay.
know.
Yeah, I don't know anything about it. It just seems odd to like
Hmm.
remove a feature that you could just like leave. Like, does it hurt anyone?
Hmm.
That's what I don't understand.
Don't know, but it is nice to see that like they're doing the anti Ubisoft, where Ubisoft will go, "Oh, these achievements and these features that are on online only services, we're just removing those. Fuck you." They're actually
Yeah,
gonna
it's
go, "Hey, we're
they're making
removing
it fun.
these.
Yeah,
Here's a heads up.
at,
Also,
at
these
least they're doing
achievements
that.
that you won't be able to access anymore. Let's just give them to you for people who collect
Yeah,
achievements," which is cool to see.
I just
Um,
hate to see like map creation stuff be removed. Like, I feel like
yeah.
it's always good to have.
There's a rumor right now from a source that there's a new Mafia trilogy in development on Unreal Engine 5. So that will be
Okay.
interesting to see. It's always interesting these new studios picking up development of Unreal Engine 5. Steam news. We have one thing on Steam news. We have the adjustable refresh rate, um, where you can go for 40 to 60 hertz mode. You can go like anywhere in between. If you don't know, I think the latency of 40 hertz is directly for each frame is directly in between 30 and 60
Yeah,
hertz.
it's like a perfect yeah.
Mm. 'Cause I was looking into because like I
Is that
think
yeah? Because like it's like yeah, yeah.
because
It's
like
interesting, isn't it? Like if you look at frame
six,
times.
60 FPS or 60 refresh is 16 milliseconds. Don't quote me. I believe it's about 60 milliseconds, and then
I think you're right.
120 is 8 milliseconds, which is why that's the next sweet spot. And then
Yeah.
after that, there's like big diminishing returns after that 8 milliseconds because the higher you go than 120,
Yeah,
then there's not much difference.
when you start looking at frame time instead of like a frame rate or a
Mm,
refresh rate, you start to understand why, yeah, why it's diminishing returns until you get quite a lot more hertz.
yeah. Because I personally don't think it's worth going above 120 hertz in terms of
No,
refresh rate.
no,
Um, I would say 120, and then
because
past that point, turn resolution up or ray
I, I
tracing on.
I can't remember what it was, but it's like a certain cable standard that doesn't like you can't run it. Like you can't have a
The HDMI.
I think in my issue mine was that you can't run it at 144 frames through it, that it would have
Right.
been fine with 120 frames. It's like why the hell are we trying to? Why are people trying to aim for 144 on their monitors? Just go for 120. It makes way
I
more
don't know.
sense.
I mean, 120 is the next sweet spot after 60 in terms of
Yeah,
you know frame
we've all
timing.
decided on 30 and 60 and 40 and stuff. Well, maybe not 40, but like we kind of decide on like 30s and 60s. Like, so why not just like keep it in that integer of like just make it 120? I don't understand the
Guys, get
144 at all.
108, get 180. That's the next sweet spot.
Yeah,
Uh, that doesn't make sense. But yeah, they're also letting you have an OS controlled fan curve because people were
yeah.
complaining the fan was very loud on the Steam Deck, especially when you're using it on bed next to somebody else who was sleeping or stuff like that. Digital Foundry Alex Battaglia from Digital Foundry just put out a video on this, and I haven't watched it yet because I was literally
Yes.
it came out just before we did the podcast, so
Yeah,
I was gonna have to,
it's like minutes ago, basically.
yeah, but that's gonna be really interesting to see. I love watching
Yeah,
Digital
I'm excited.
Foundry's Steam Deck stuff. So
Yeah, I don't know.
yeah.
I'm like always excited when they release videos about the Steam Deck. I'm like, I just really like the Steam Deck in its
It's
concepts.
a cool form factor that you
I
love to
feel
see.
like there are definitely some shortcomings, but like I feel like
Hmm.
what we've got is very good as a starting point.
Next up, we have Blunders, aka Ubisoft news.
Okay.
Ubisoft shuts down online services for 90 older games.
Oh my god.
So you are now
I
no
guess they
longer.
never released it so dedicated servers could be run through.
What Ubisoft describes as ULC, unlockable content, such as additional maps, skins, in all the affected games has been disabled as well, without a means to unlock them.
Oh, for goodness
PC
sake.
players who've previously unlocked such content will be locked out of it. And while console players can still enjoy the unlocked content unless save game files for that particular game are reset.
Can they not just release? Like, okay, fine. They don't want to run it themselves, but could they not release the files so other people can run it themselves? Like,
No, because that would encourage piracy and,
right,
yeah.
of an old game that they're not even supporting.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
you gotta protect it.
piracy.
You've got to protect it.
So like that would be de-encouraging piracy because then people aren't going to try and crack the code themselves. They're just going to use what Ubisoft releases.
I don't know. I think we this is sort of content that we need to preserve, but
Yeah.
Ubisoft doesn't give a shit.
No. To be fair, most multiplayer services that like people who host those that don't give a shit, they just like, yeah, we're gonna kill it. So, oh, did we back up? Yeah, we could,
They
but
care
nah.
to take it down when people try to preserve it. So,
Mm-hmm.
Yuji Naka has took Square Enix to court over unfinished Balan Wonderland.
I did hear
Um,
about this. So why I don't understand. Like, I get
so
it's a bad game.
apparently he was the game director on Balan's Wonderland. If you don't know, Balan's
Oh
Wonderland
right.
came out and it was fucking awful.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember, I played it in a demo
Yeah.
festival before it came out, and I
Yeah.
was like,
Didn't really get
I
it.
don't understand this game.
There was
I don't like it, but
there
maybe
were
somebody else
pointless
likes this
hats.
because I felt like
Yeah.
it was so fucking confusing at the time.
Yeah.
But I believe he was removed as the game's director about a year before the launch. and then he filed a lawsuit against Squeenix over the matter.
Right. Okay.
So his removal appeared to be around two disputes. One concerning the use of a YouTuber to play the game music in the marketing rather than using the original score, and the other over co-developer Zest submitting the game for release without fixing various issues.
Right. Okay. I don't think I feel
Personally,
like I don't
I'm
know
really
enough
sorry
about
that
these
I released the
lawsuits.
unfinished work, but I want to learn to the world, he wrote. I want to think about various things and put it from a proper form as an action game. I think Square Enix and Azerst are companies that don't care about games and games fans. That is the most Google
Uh,
translated thing I've read in a long time.
it's probably true though.
Yeah. So it seems like, but he worked on this. He was like, this is not finished. He gets fired. They release the game, and then people are like, this game sucks. And he's like, but it wasn't finished. I wanted to finish it, and now it's like tarnishing his brand
Yeah.
almost. I don't know.
Is that like is like maybe like is like a breach of contract sort of lawsuit like term? Like I don't really understand what can be done here, but I don't really.
He said a business order removed him as the game's director half a year before launch. You think this is like a Kojima situation where
Yeah,
Metal Gear Solid, where they wouldn't allow him to go to the award show and they just fucking completely
I don't
removed
know.
him from it,
Yeah,
sort
well,
of
I can
thing.
see like him being like, "Oh, I really want like we can't release it," and they're like, "No, we're gonna release it anyway." And it's
I
like,
was
well,
ta-
in
I was
that
ta- I was
case,
talking to some friends
get
earlier, and
out.
I was saying like Squeenix is like going up there for me for one of my most hated companies right now for the shit they're
Yeah,
pulling. Like
yeah.
just all of this like crypto NFT shit. Their ports of like Final Fantasy on PC,
Well, it's not
or
just all of their PC ports are shit.
increasing prices across the board. Like,
Yeah,
just
at least
I was
they
never
own very
particularly a
few.
fan of Squeenix, but now that
Yeah,
we'll talk about it in a second. But
then other information about what they've done. Yeah.
yeah, that'll be later on. It's not a blunder. It's not a blunder because of what they've
It
done.
just happened. Okay.
Yeah, next up.
I don't know,
Oh,
it's almost a blunder.
there was a leak of Assassin's Creed VR being development that will help people get into the metaverse through Ubisoft. I guess they want to get involved in the
So
metaverse
wait,
as
so it
well.
wouldn't be a VR game, it would just be like a meta experience
No,
with
I think it
Assassin's
is
Creed.
like an actual game. We don't know. I think it's just like a menu that's been leaked from the video. I didn't
Right,
want to
okay.
show it because it's just a menu, and I didn't want to show
I find
copyrighted
it
stuff.
hilarious that like people like Mark Zuckerberg think like, oh, if more VR games come out, that means more people will have VR headsets, which means that more people then be in the
Days.
metaverse. And like,
Yeah.
I'm just like, surely these games being released are competition to the metaverse.
Uh. Oh,
Like, surely
new
VR games are direct competition to the metaverse because they're no longer like games inside the metaverse to play. It'd be better games outside the metaverse you could play.
Ubisoft catches the eye of public equity. I don't think we talked about this. It seems like Ubisoft. People are trying to acquire Ubisoft right now. Look,
I think
all
did
I'm.
wait. We might talk this off before the podcast. I think
Hmm.
we talked about it.
I was saying like I really, really hope that someone like Microsoft comes along and gets it and just shakes out all of the bad shit out of it, like they're trying
Yeah.
to do with Blizzard Activision.
Get rid of Uplay and whatever it is. Ubisoft Connect, sorry.
Well, because what they did with Bethesda was they sunset the Bethesda launcher and then just moved all the
Yeah,
games over to Steam. I'm
thank God.
I'm really hoping someone like Microsoft or Embracer maybe could take over Ubisoft and then just sunset the Ubisoft Connect launcher,
Let's move it to Steam.
move it over to Steam so there's no barriers to entry, and then all of the content in the online services create a way to unlock it through single player, make patches for the games and the older games, and
Yeah.
actually preserve them. Like someone like THQ Nordic Embracer, they have people who have the passion to preserve old games and remaster them. So, and Microsoft as well, like they've done a good job of supporting the studios they buy. So I feel like those are good candidates for me personally. But it seems like at the moment, the Guillemot family, the founders of Ubisoft, are apparently trying to
How do you
team up.
pronounce that?
I don't know. They're teaming
It's like
up.
a French name.
Guillemot. They're teaming up with. They're apparently partnering with a private equity firm in order to, like block potential buyouts from happening. So they can just. I think they own like something like 20% or something like that of the stock.
Yeah, okay.
So they're going to try and team up with like bigger private equity firms to have them buy stock and then be on the same team and then stop a big company and swooping up all the stock. I think the stock prices are dropping like crazy right now. The stock price is struggling. That's been reported. So, we saw this exact same thing when Blizzard Activision stock fell. That's when Microsoft swooped in. So Ubisoft, it's got still has some big name properties like Assassin's Creed. Oh, apparently, Beyond Good and Evil, we've heard nothing about it. Apparently, Beyond Good and Evil's development is just hemorrhaging Ubisoft money, according to sources.
Oh,
yes, because it's such a huge game, and they have like nothing to show for it right now. So
yeah, I don't. I feel like it sounds like development hell because it sounds.
there was that pirate game that kept getting cancelled, didn't it? It was like Skull and Bones or whatever it was fucking called. I don't know.
Remember when that was relevant? What in 2000? What did we say? Black Flag came out in the end, like 13.
Black Flag. That's a joke because I did a typo in the Tangerine
right.
title, and then I was like, I can't bother to change it. This game doesn't deserve to have its name changed. Dave messaged me and said, "Did you know you've got a typo?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's on purpose." Whenever we refer to it, just call it Black Flag. That's all we need to say now. It's Assassin's Creed Black Flag.
Yeah. Which is awesome.
Yeah, I think that's all I have to say about this. Apparently they earn 15% at the moment.
Right.
The 5 billion market cap business. Nvidia has been fined 5.5 million for allegedly hiding how many gaming GPUs were sold to crypto miners. The SEC says it left investors in the dark. The reason they got in trouble is because you have to disclose to your investors where the revenue is coming from. Yeah. And the reason they may want to lie to the investors to say, hey, it's coming from gaming is right now, crypto is a bubble, right? So if you make a bunch of money off the fact that there's not enough supply and demand of GPUs and that people right now want to snap up GPUs for mining, you then can't go, you guys should continue to invest in the company because this is an expandable business that is sustainable. You'd much rather go, oh, these people were buying GPUs because they're gaming, which means they're repeat customers who are going to keep buying more and more GPUs over like lifetimes of like years, right? But the funny thing is, like 5.5 million, that's a slap on the fucking wrist. Like, there's no way Nvidia can.
That's a gnat hitting you.
They don't give a shit about this fine. Like, they made so much more money from selling the GPUs to crypto miners that it doesn't matter at all. Like, if they could lie again and get another fine, they just take the fine. It's worth way more.
These fines are like, will close down small businesses, will hurt medium businesses, but then like super large companies, like Nvidia is fucking huge. Why do they care? Well, I'm glad nothing's going to change, I suppose. That's good.
Next up we have Sony news. Variable refresh rate support for the PS5 is out now. So it's coming to Call of Duty Vanguard, Destiny 2, Marvel, Spider-Man, Miles Morales.
Can't you you can force this feature on, can't you? Even an unsupported.
I think you can face it on like the OS level, maybe.
Yeah. it works better
Hmm.
if the game actually has a patch for it.
Some of these games already had like the 40 FPS mode, like the Insomniac ones, like
Yeah,
Spider-Man and Ratchet had some really good ones.
yeah.
Um, but it seems like the VRR support on PS5 is a welcome feature. I don't think it's quite like as good as it could be, but we'll have to see how it gets implemented
I
over
think
time.
yeah. I feel like we're just waiting for games to like support it. I guess.
And also, timed game trials are now required for PlayStation developers. Um,
Okay.
so games over $34 will be required to have a trial available for PlayStation Plus members. This is the highest tier of the new PlayStation Now, PlayStation Plus. Um, is it called PlayStation? What was it called
I
before?
can't.
PS Now was the streaming one, and then
Yeah. Yeah.
PlayStation.
PlayStation Plus was the console subscription live
Yeah,
game. Yeah.
I don't even fucking. It was too confusing to remember anyway. PlayStation Plus is the new one, the highest tier that's combined them together. Will give you access to this trial. So the trial needs to be available within 3 months of the game's launch and must remain for a minimum of 12 months on the store page. Developers can opt for a demo instead of a full game trial, but PlayStation will approve these on a case by case basis.
Right.
My immediate
So,
reaction was cool. Every single game, pretty much, because I think every single game is going to be over $34 these days. It's going to have
yeah.
a demo or a trial so you can test them out. Because I know all games, or at least most games on Origin, like EA, have a trial on them for your Origin Access membership, which is cool. That you can try out a game before you play it. Like I think Mass Effect Andromeda, you could play that. I remember I was like,
Yeah.
that would be
I
a
tried
good
that.
candidate for a trial because
Hmm.
people say it's quite broken. Well, you could just go on it, see how it runs, and then maybe potentially get it if you're interested in a game like that. Mm.
I feel like I don't know. I feel
My
like
imme- my
encouraging just
immediate
proper demos though.
my immediate reaction was cool, good feature, more demos. But I was watching the Digital Foundry podcast, and they were saying they didn't like it because it was forcing devs to put more crunch on developers and forcing them to make these trials on their games.
How I suppose. But how much? If it's just a trial of the full game, then surely it's just like a timer.
Hmm.
I don't know. I feel like if they're forcing a demo, that's fair.
When
And
it
I
gets
personally think, and I think encouraging these things instead of like forcing it is definitely better.
Yeah, I
And I
agree
would prefer
too.
to have a demo than a trial.
Just saying, like the extra development costs can really crush small studios with these kinds of requirements.
Yeah, like I feel like forcing it doesn't make any sense. It's just like maybe it's like, oh, here have some like more money to like encourage to like
The
have
thing is,
a demo.
it's an incentive for the highest possible tier,
Yeah,
which because I think the way it goes is it's baseline PS4, PS5 emulation, and then its highest tier gives you the PS1, PS2, PS3 tier of emulation, sort of thing. Was the other incentive for that
right.
on top of the other ones? But yeah, I have to say how that works. 'Cause some games
So
could be really short.
surely as well, like okay, like if, say you're a small, I get this is kind of bad optics, but surely you could like just be like you could just comply with these terms if like you really couldn't, you didn't have the resources and you didn't want to crunch. Like you could just go,
Mm.
we'll just put out a shit version of the trial then. Like it technically complies.
Yeah, it's because like it sounds like a closed system. So if you want to
Yeah,
sell on PlayStation, you have to follow these rules. You don't have any other choice.
yeah. Again, I mean, I'm very pro trial and demo. Just yeah, it
Yeah,
probably
I
should
am
be
as
more
well.
encouraged, not forced.
Let's see what we have next. Tech news. Fortnite's back on iPhones, Tony. Finally,
Is this
finally.
like the weird hack they've done?
So xCloud Gaming is available on iOS. So now
Yeah,
Fortnite is on Xbox Cloud Gaming, which is available on
right.
iOS, iPadOS, Android phones, tablets, and Windows PCs. So you can now play Fortnite on iOS through streaming it through
Wait,
Xbox.
can I stream it on my Steam Deck then?
I guess, yeah. I don't see why you wouldn't be able to. It's a Windows PC.
Because it couldn't. Yeah, that's what I mean. That it couldn't. The Linux version, it didn't run Linux, but I guess it can run through xCloud. Okay, interesting.
Well, it's not. Sorry, it's not a Windows PC by default, right? It's Linux PC.
Yeah, I think it was kind of the problem that people were having with it.
What was it? Oh, so you can now. So previously with xCloud, you had to subscribe and then you could play paid titles, but now they're going to offer an option for free-to-play titles like Fortnite, where you can stream them for free as a like free-to-play title, sort of thing.
Because they made the money internally, I suppose.
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
It's cool to see.
I wonder what the. I'm really curious, like what the business thing behind that is. Like, how much do free to play like
I remember it
streaming
used to be really
companies?
hard to get free-to-play games on like the PlayStation Network and like Xbox and
Yeah.
stuff like that. That was hard to do before. But now it's a lot easier to get them on that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Let's see how this turns out. Oh, Tony, VR news. Wallace and Gromit step into VR.
What?
Aardman, Atlas V, and MetaQuest exclusive. We have Wallace and Gromit, comedy created by Aardman Animation, is set for a virtual reality makeover. So Aardman is partnering with MetaQuest and Paris-based banner Atlas V to create an interactive, narrative-led, single-player VR experience which will follow the adventures of Wallace and Gromit.
This would be perfect for not the
Another
metaverse.
another MetaQuest exclusive VR game. You'll love to see it.
Again, though, is I feel like this is just competition to the metaverse. I just don't understand this strategy. Whatever. Sure.
So it's being made by Atlas
More
V,
games.
who've done VR experience such as Spheres and Gloomy Eyes in association with No Ghost in London and Abalon in Lyon. It's funded by MetaQuest. I think it's because Meta keeps funding all the development, so they give all the money to the developers, and then the developer goes, "Oh, okay, and then we'll make it a Meta exclusive." I don't know if that's part of their contract, because like I know Valve does. You remember when Valve used to make VR stuff?
Yeah.
You remember I've talked about this in the podcast before, like years ago, and I was talking about how Valve was like, "We're going to fund developers to make VR games. You
Yeah.
don't have to make them exclusively for Steam, but we just want more VR games out there." That was like an
Yeah, just the
initiative they
market.
had. You can
Not
make
flood
them.
the market, but
You can make them for any headset, sort of thing.
yeah.
I never heard about that again. So
No.
they get like an idea and they go, "This is cool," and then they go, "Okay,
And everyone goes,
next
yeah,
one."
that's cool.
Business news. This was the huge news I was alluding to earlier. Embracer Group has entered an agreement to acquire Eidos, Crystal Dynamics, and Square Enix Montreal, among other assets. So Square Enix is selling for $300 million US to Embracer,
For all these, it's just so low.
which includes stuff like the Deus Ex IP rights, which I'm just like, holy shit.
Yeah, that's huge.
Two original Tomb Raider and Deus Ex.
It's just massive, massive IPs in my opinion.
They're getting access to the studios that made stuff like the Gardeners of the Galaxy game.
Yeah, I believe then they also like with that get the Marvel those Marvel gaming
I
rights.
believe they're getting the Marvel game rights as well, but I'm not 100%
It didn't
that's
seem it
working.
wasn't very clear to me. That's what people seem to be speculating on.
Yeah. So
It makes sense, but I don't know.
Square Enix has. Okay, so I'll just say Square Enix is going to retain Just Cause, Outriders,
Outfighters, yeah, they need to keep
and
that.
Life is Strange. Apparently,
Okay,
okay, I'll talk about the Marvel games in a second, but apparently Outriders is breaking even. It hasn't made a profit, but it's broken even.
I thought everyone's forgotten about that game.
So Tony, Square Enix put out a statement saying Square Enix states the transaction will enable the launch of new businesses by moving forward with investments in fields including blockchain, AI, and the cloud. The Square
Great.
Enix had sold like some of the biggest um fucking franchises that they have right now in order to
Yeah,
make NFTs.
also, yeah, they're just using the latest buzzwords. Like, how are they going to do the cloud
But
stuff? How does
Tony,
that make any sense? Is that just an online multiplayer
Embracer
game?
Embracer Group can fucking remaster Deus Ex and Thief.
Oh,
This is
yeah, I
so
know.
huge.
Yeah,
Insane.
they can remaster old Tomb Raider games. That's
Like I
insane.
was saying, like Embracer owns the rights now to Tomb Raider, Deus Ex, Thief, Duke Nukem. They also own the rights to because
Oh,
they own
yeah,
3D Realms and Gearbox. So I'm just
it's
like,
true. I forgot about that.
there's so many like cool games that I want to play and see remasters of, and it's Embracer's been
I'm
doing a really good job of remastering stuff
Yeah,
recently.
they seem to be a standard company who make games,
As I'll point out every
and that's
time,
good.
guys, Embracer is THQ Nordic, just in case you were confused.
That yeah, it's are they they're Swedish or something, right? Like in that sort of region.
THQ Nordic or Embracer?
Embracer,
Yeah, I guess.
which I find interesting.
Yeah, Swedish media holding company.
Yes, I found that very interesting.
Look. So, Tomb Raider is going to Embracer, Deus Ex is going to Embracer, Thief is going to Embracer. Wait, Embracer's getting Gex?
What?
As no. Who owns the rights to Gex? Wait, Square Enix owned Gex! Tony, Gex, fucking Square
I
Enix now
didn't.
has Gex. The
I didn't even
mascot
know they owned
platform.
it.
Yeah, they've been holding it this whole time.
Embracer's just like, do you want to
Also,
sell?
they keep saying Legacy of Kain. I don't remember this game at all. Legacy of Kain. I don't remember this game at all. I've got to be honest with you. It's sort of one that's eluded me.
Oh, it doesn't ring a bell.
Yeah, Legacy of Kain. Back catalogue of over 50 IPs, including Project Snowblind, Whiplash, The Unholy War. Square Enix keeping Outriders. I don't care about Outriders or Life is Strange, but it's kind of sad to see that Just Cause isn't going over because I really like Just Cause.
Yeah.
Um,
So I guess that they're retaining yeah, publishing like Avalanche games stuff. So
apparently, Sleeping Dogs is unknown right now.
yeah, it's got
Apparently,
quite a
there
good thing about
was
Sleeping
a
Dogs.
Sleeping Dogs 2 game early in development, but it was shut down.
Well, yeah, Sleeping Dogs
And
kind of was a
we're
nightmare
still
to
not
get their money
sure on
back.
the Marvel game rights either. I don't really
Yeah,
know yet, so yeah, about that. What was I going to say? So, apparently, Tony, Square Enix has lost $200 million on Marvel games.
Jesus Christ, that's a lot.
Which is why I was saying the fact that Outriders is broken even is probably why
It's
Square Enix is holding on to them.
yeah. Even no one
Did
remembers Outright. I don't know. Outriders is shit.
it come out this year,
Oh,
Tony? You probably don't even know. What year did Outriders come out, Tony?
2021.
You don't know that.
I do.
Nobody knows when it came out.
No one cares. It doesn't matter. Like Outriders is dead.
But yeah, I was hopefully. I mean, all I'm hoping for now is that Square Enix gets rid of. They're never going to do this, but I'm hoping Final Fantasy can escape Square Enix's grasp, but that's never going to happen.
Well, maybe okay. What if Squeenix split into like NFT Squeenix and just game Squeenix?
What if like Square and Enix split into two separate
Yeah.
companies?
Which one? Okay, which one is the sensible one? Square or
I
Enix?
don't fucking. You think I know about?
What
Uh,
is an Enix?
the fuck is an Enix?
I think okay, from like I would to me an Enix publishing sounds cooler to me than Square publishing. So that's just my take on that.
So there's a couple of theories out now that Square Enix may be slimming down in order to attract more acquisition targets. Like,
Why are they selling by selling very good IPs they owned?
well, they still have like,
Oh,
well, they still have
Final Fantasy, to
Final
be fair,
Fantasy, which
which is
is
a
like,
massive one. It's not their
but the thing
biggest,
is,
but
you got to
yeah,
think about
that's their huge one.
Final Fantasy's been PlayStation exclusive for a really long time.
Yeah, they make
Um,
a lot of money with the MMO.
the current rumors are that PlayStation, another Japanese company, is really interested in acquiring Square Enix.
Right. They want to see them
Um,
have a profit,
so it seems
not
like
lose money.
right now, what they did was they sold a lot of their Western developers because they want
Yeah,
to
that's
be
true.
acquired by a Japanese publisher like Sony.
But isn't Avalanche a Western IP and like
Yeah, I think
developer?
so. I just think Just Cause made money.
Yeah, as I'm saying that I think that didn't make money recently is like way more of a better theory than they sold Western stuff.
No, but it does make more sense when you think about it from the angle of they're cutting the Western studios and keeping the Japanese studios to maybe
I
potentially get a
suppose.
buyout from PlayStation.
But why are they then keeping other ones as
Rumor,
well? Though like, that doesn't seem
speculation.
consistent to me.
I mean, they only kept Just Cause.
Because I will say this though, because like the SX and like Tomb Raider stuff, like they spend a huge amount of money to make those games. So I'm just wondering, was like, is this like in their books, like does it look like a money sink, and they're trying to go, oh, but look how much money we make from other stuff, and they need to like
I don't know,
remove
I just feel like
the money
Square Enix
sinks.
has like really unrealistic expectations because every time they release like a smash hit like Gardeners of the Galaxy and it sells
Yeah,
like hotcakes, and then Square Enix comes out with a fucking a statement saying like it did not live up to our expectations.
yeah, I know.
And I'm
We
just
put too
like,
much money into it.
hold up, this sold like crazy, but it's like they must be investing just way too much fucking money into
Yeah,
these games for them to be
I
such huge disappointments at that level of success.
I think they're putting too much into the technology. I think they're paying way too much for like technology licenses. Like I don't know what the hell is going on.
Because I think they got rid of the Western studios because those were the ones making the Marvel games, which are hemorrhaging so much money.
Yeah, yeah. And I think Deus Ex games make it like hemorrhage a huge amount of money for not much gain. And the same for I think
Ugh.
I don't know. I does Tomb Raider not make
I
money
was
still?
just. It's cool that Embracer got,
Yeah, the best
Deus Ex and Thief, but I was just.
currently the best people.
All I'm saying is if Microsoft acquired them, Arcane Studios making a Deus Ex or a Thief game would be pretty
Yeah,
fuking
if they're doing other
awesome.
stuff though, they wouldn't for years and
Yeah.
years.
I'm ex-
I'm happy that it's not gone to another massive company, but instead a different one because then it's then more diverse.
I just played the original Thief recently, and I'm just like, this game was so ahead of its time. It's insane.
Hmm.
It is ripe for an actual remaster that wasn't made in 2014. Like, there needs to be a real
Let's not
Thief
talk about
remaster
that.
that wasn't made in 2014. Like, we need an
Yeah,
actual, we need an
yeah,
actual, sequel to Deus Ex, and not
yeah,
the other games that were, cinematic action games. I don't know.
yeah. It'd be good. I mean, I would like remasters of like old Tomb Raider stuff as well if they have like the full rights
Yeah,
on
I had
everything old
I
that's
was on with
there.
a friend recently, and they wanted to play through the old Tomb Raider games, and
Because it's like,
they were disappointed because they were playing through, they got it on Steam and they said, oh, it's on Steam, so I can play like Tomb Raider 1 on Steam, but then um it basically the original Tomb Raider games on Steam are emulated through DOSBox, and then
Yeah.
they ran into the problem where they couldn't get controller support to work through DOSBox. They wanted to play it through a
Oh
controller
god.
on their PC, so
You
it was
have to have
like
the controller.
there
Oh
was
god.
trouble doing that. Like the
Yeah.
Tomb Raider games are ripe for like an actual like. I would embrace a group, the THQ Nordic guys. Like I think they could really,
Well, they tend
fix
to
that
give
stuff
it to
up.
studios that actually care. Like that seems to be like what they do.
Well,
So
I think
yeah, I trust
their
it.
big arm of remasters right now is Saber, right?
Yeah, I believe that's correct.
Yeah. Next up, we have apparently Dragon Age 4 devs are QA devs are unionizing over bad pay and COVID
Oh god.
safety.
What? Okay, I don't understand this. To me,
Mm.
QA is really important. How do
QA is
QA get
just
fucked
treated like
every time?
shit. Yeah, it seems like. But they go,
It makes no
they're
sense.
just the bug testers. They don't deserve
They
rights.
just make sure the game is like good for people playing it. They don't need them.
They said the big
Oh,
two
God.
reasons were bad pay and they wanted to have a full time return to the office while the pandemic still lingers. I think most people are in
Yeah.
agreement now that you should be able to choose if you work from an office or work from home. It seems like
Especially QA. Like,
I
why
think
would QA need to go into an office?
most people seem to be in agreement that working from home has no negative impact on productivity. Um,
In a lot of sectors, yeah.
yeah.
But the thing is, though, the like the old school like management teams, Joe, they want to assert control the way they always do. They don't understand the new
So
way of
the
doing
QA
it.
developers are employed through a global contracting services called Keyword Studios, but work directly with production teams at BioWare's Edmonton office. They began supporting development of Mass Effect Legendary Edition before moving to the latest Star Wars: The Old Republic expansion, Legacy of the Sith.
Right.
So that's what they work on. But
Yeah.
hopefully
Okay.
that they can get this. They will be either recognized by BioWare, or they will be forced to be recognized. Is how it
Yeah,
works.
which is a pain in the ass if you had to force it.
BioWare and EA did not respond to a request for comment.
I wonder why.
All right. Delays, cancellation of announcements. This one's kind of sad. We've got a update on the development of Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time. Development is being moved from Ubisoft Mumbai to Ubisoft Montreal.
Okay.
Um, these are the people who are the very birthplace of the epic Sands of Time trilogy, they say. It's an important step in the team building upon the work achieved by Ubisoft Pune? Pune? And Ubisoft Mumbai will now take the time they need to regroup and scope the game and deliver your best experience for the rumors full time. Hopefully this means a better game in the end. It's just it sucks for the people at Ubisoft Montreal. Sorry, these folks at Ubisoft Mumbai because this was the first big AAA game for an Indian developer.
Yeah.
Because they've been more of like a support studio so far, and they haven't really
It's
had
good.
their own like stamp. Like I was talking about before, like Raji coming out was like a really cool to
Yeah.
see from an Indian studio.
Yeah.
Because we saw like even recently, we've had like a big rise of like Chinese developers actually popping up and making some
Yeah.
like really cool games.
Making their own stuff. Yeah. Not just. Yeah.
Because like for the longest time we talked about like Japanese developers, we're seeing like stuff like Nine Souls, was really cool. Stuff like what was the bunny game called? I don't remember what it was called. You know the rabbit with the. I think it was just called Fist. I think it was literally called Fist.
Was it just called Fist? Was it?
That was like a Chinese event, but it's cool to see like these Eastern studios actually getting the recognition they deserve and getting more, titles and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. A bigger market and being like shown that like a quality like studios, not just cheaper studios is
I
what
think
they
recently
basically said at
there was like a
announcement.
Steam sale just about Chinese developers, and that stuff's like cool when you see like stuff like that
Yeah,
coming up. So
yeah, it's nice to see.
like to see like more development teams from all around the world getting their chance to work on big AAA games. We don't know what's happening with Prince of Persia: Sands of Time. Maybe we'll get more information when this eventually comes out, but I have to
I
see.
think just yeah, it's a shame. It could have been like a good. Yeah, it could have been great for great for the studio and like
And
great for like
also one more
Prince of
thing.
Persia.
Fuck Ubisoft.
Yeah, they are definitely the worst.
The best of the worst. The
Um,
worst of the
close,
worst.
closely followed, like very closely followed by Activision Blizzard.
Screenix, and I don't know, like Activision Blizzard, Screenix, and Ubisoft. Like,
I'm only putting I'm putting both Activision Blizzard and Ubisoft above Square Enix, but only because of like really like treating developers poorly. So
anyway, I think there's only new Peter Molyneux tweets, Tony. So I'll just end the podcast.
what?
Yeah, he's fallen off. He's fallen off.
Oh my god, I can't believe it.
Check us out and everything in between podcast on YouTube, twitch.tv/Scorn if you want to watch live, and at Scorn2000 if you want to follow me on Twitter for some reason. And we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.